In January of 2024, I was listening to an Ask Me Anything video by a man whose facial hair is dangerously seductive levels of grim. One of the questions he was asked was, "Where do you get inspiration for your videos?" And part of his answer really stuck with me. He was gracious enough to let me steal that answer so I can play it for you now.
I don't know if I have like a reference point for what inspires them, because they were very reactionary to other content creators, or rather a lack of seeing myself in others, and this endless desire I retained to have conversations about things I cared about. Before my channel, I would frequently just pace back and forth having a one-sided conversation with myself, as if there was someone there, and it was very compulsive in nature, because if I couldn't finish it, it would be very unsatisfying.
For him, it might have just been a simple statement of fact, but for me, something clicked into place in my head, and not just the parasocial kinship that comes from also struggling with certain mental illnesses. Like many others, I love video games, thinking about them, playing them, and even making them back when life was less hectic, but more than anything else, I love talking about video games with other people. When I was in my late teens, I even put in a holiday season at GameStop. And while I hated selling magazine subscriptions, the one thing I loved about that job was that pretty much every single person who came in the door wanted to talk in some way about video games. Now I'm a lot older. I'm busy, I work from home, and I don't get to meet a lot of new people. So instead, I've been listening to other people talk about games online, mostly through YouTube. That answer that he gave resonated with me not only because it sounded so familiar, but because it made me realize that I could do something about it. It was an invitation to the table, a call to adventure. Journey is an exploration platforming game, but it's far more than that. Chances are good that if you're over the age of 25, you don't need me to tell you that. Journey was a fairly big deal in the gaming press when it came out, and it won a ton of awards. Players loved it for its emotionally evocative sound design and its ability to forge companionship between total strangers despite having no real ability to communicate. If you were playing online, you would be randomly connected to only one other person at a time. You couldn't even see their username until you had finished the game. Sometimes you would lose them for reasons you could never know. Maybe their kid needed a drink, maybe they lost power, or maybe they just didn't want to be with you anymore. It was a lot like someone watching a video that you've made, and you could feel that fragile bond of happenstance as it broke, and it would echo with you for a while. It's a game that is beautiful and powerful, and it's also a game that is built solidly upon the concept of the monomyth, or more commonly, the hero's journey. When the game begins, the avatar has already received their call to adventure. We don't know where they came from, but their goal is clear. After all, mountains are there to be climbed. It's a compulsion. This is the first stage, departure. It begins with the call, and I felt that, but this act of the story also commonly has other themes. Refusal of the call was easy. I didn't know how to make videos, how to record or edit, how to write a script, and who would even want to watch them? It would just be a waste of time. Despite my anxieties, supernatural aid came in the form of Reddit threads and YouTube tutorials until finally I crossed the first threshold and posted my first video. It was on the Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen, and it is not very good. I don't recommend watching it. Still, I was on my way. I made something that I was proud of at the time, and I put it on the internet. I didn't know it, but I was in the belly of the whale. Not to overly dramatize the point, but that first video was a bit of a landmark for me. While I might look back at it kind of like a child's drawing even now, less than a year later, I made that. I enjoyed making it, and I wanted to keep making things like it. I was fundamentally different than before, but I still wasn't very good at this. The jury is out on if I'm any good at it now, but we'll deal with that in another year. I had moved into the second stage, initiation. This is when the hero, the one on the journey, not me, though maybe me, faces trials, overcomes failures, finds support, grows, and achieves their goal. For YouTube, I fight with OBS and audio levels. In Journey, we avoid massive, flying, mechanical fish monsters? Personally, I might be better off with the fish. Often, the first step on a journey is the hardest, but that doesn't mean that the rest are easy. The avatar's scarf acts as something of a mana bar. Initially, they can only jump a short distance, and it doesn't recharge on its own. Scattered throughout the world are glowing runes that I like to think of as a bit of inspiration or knowledge. By building up your pool of both, the scarf gets longer and we can fly farther. But that still only carries us so much. It's these little slips of red cloth, the audience, that recharge us while lifting us up. The communities and other creators that you find help as well, the same as you help them. I'm fortunate to have my own divine helpers, an audience that has been endlessly kind, and a family, especially my wonderful wife, who are eternally supportive. All of those lift me up in my own journey, and I appreciate them every day. After creeping through the dead stillness of the abyss and climbing a golden tower, the avatar reaches what is called apotheosis. This is the state of understanding what lies ahead and resolving to go on. The entirety of the journey has been foretold, and it's only going to become more difficult. It's only through the work of making my own videos that I come to understand how much I still have to learn, but with each one I get a little better, my voice a little stronger. The mountain is the ultimate trial for the avatar. There are enemies, of course, constantly trying to tear them down, but the bigger burden is that for the first time in the game, they can't fly. Even when that red cloth is nearby, actively building up the scarf, the brutal cold strips it away again. This is life, tearing us down. Burnout, creative block, loss and betrayal and depression and sickness and all of the things that make it crushingly difficult to create anything in this world. Finally, succumbing to the cold and the exhaustion, the avatar collapses in the snow, and I get that feeling. But something, maybe passion, breaks through, granting the ultimate boon and propelling them to reach the summit. We might see this as the final goal, but that's not the end of the hero's journey any more than creating one popular video would be the end of what I want to do. The final act is the return, and it is admittedly very short. The avatar flies back through all the areas they traversed and beyond the point where the game began, literally ending where it started. In some stories, this could be a trope, but it's fitting for Journey. After all, it's a fundamental part of the monomyth and artistic creation in general. Once the piece is done, are you? No, of course not. There's another blank canvas or empty page waiting for you to do it all over again. I'm writing this script in January of 2025, nearly 13 years after Journey first released, and at least 10 years since I first played it. I wish I had started making videos like this 10 years ago, but the saying goes that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. Those 13 years haven't taken anything away from the game. It's still beautiful and emotionally resonant, still special. Maybe you feel a call to your own adventure, and you've been resisting it because the time isn't right, or you don't know how, or maybe you even think that the right time has passed. Well, I think the hardest step might be the first, but it's still your journey. You just have to start. Thanks for watching.